video, we'll look at the setup of ProFile T1 for preparing optional returns for a deceased taxpayer. Specifically, we'll look at the setup for rights and things. Using the terminology optional return, because that is what the CRA has documentation for. They call them optional returns. You've got the final return and then the optional returns. CRA does have some guidance on this. So the question is, how do I start a new return? So we're going to be doing a 2024 return for the final return. How do we prepare an additional 2024 return for the optional return? Do I copy the final and use that, or start a new return? Some documentation recommends copying the final return. Not all preparers will find this ideal. You might have to uncouple a married return, make sure you remove all the information you don't want on the rights or things in this case from the return. There's a chance you could miss things. Some preparers prefer to start a new return and add the things you do need definitely on the rights or things. So this video will show how to start with a new return. Let's look at this further. I'm going to go to the CRA website and see what we can find there. I've done a search here for CRA deceased optional return, and then there's this link here, and I'll click on that, and there's information here, another link, what returns you need to file, lots of information here, and then there's a specific link for optional T1 return, and it has some information there, and then reference to other links and other documentation on the CRA website. Now I'm looking at ProFile. I've got a 2024 return. This person's deceased. It's a married couple. I have a coupled return. I want to do a final return, but we've decided we need to do an optional return or rights or thing. What you can do is just copy this whole return, but then you're going to have to go through it. You're going to make sure you got the right OAS, the correct CPP. This, you're probably going to have to delete the T4 and put in anything that applies to the rights or things. There's a lot of things you have to be careful with if you copy a return. The other thing you can do, though, to start a new return is I'm on the Info tab. I'm going to go to Edit, and unfortunately there isn't a intuitive copy paste, so I'm just going to copy this form and see if I can get this to work for me. So I'm going to copy the form, go and create a return, and what I can do now is go up to Edit and paste and cross my fingers. So sometimes I get this. It doesn't match the clipboard, but if I click on here now, it will populate it. Now the thing is, not all the information's there, so I'm going to paste again and see what happens. So I get the basic information there. This now, though, doesn't have the spouse's net income. You're going to have to adjust for that to make sure you don't claim a amount for spouse when you shouldn't. So I could work up from this return as opposed to reducing or going through a return and removing everything I don't need. I can start fresh and add. Now what I'm going to do is go to this question. Is this early or elective return? And I'm going to say yes. When I say yes, I can scroll down here and there's a section for other than final returns. So there's the 3 allowed optional returns, and in this case I'm going to click on rights or things. And if I go to the T1, it tells me it's a special return. And if I go to T1 e-file, I can see that this is an earlier or elective return, and it's an e-file exclusion, so it has to be paper filed. And this gives me a basis to work on the return. So once I have the return I want, I can just make sure that, just to review here, I can make sure that it's early filed or elective return, and it's yes, and then I can scroll down further and indicate which return it is, and then I can add the things to this return I need. When I save it, I'm going to add here, so I just put something here so I can, if I'm looking through the files, I know which one is the rights or things, or section 70 bracket 2, and I'm ready to go. Create this return, adding things the way I need them. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you want more support options, you can go to our main website. It's profile.intuit.ca.